Sound.
If Joe Flacco is worth a 4th-round pick, Antonio Brown might be worth a negative 5th-round pick.
Again, I'm just a fat dude sitting on the couch. But, I watch a lot of football.
I'm here to kick ass and make steaks, and I'm all out of steaks.
Year 1, he was like, all right, guys, I don't know what Dom taught you, but you need to have 11 guys on the field.
A trained orangutan could have done a better job than Ron Zerks. And he's not even, well-trained.
Welcome, Packers fans, to the Titletown Sound podcast. This is episode 245 of the podcast. And this is the podcast for fans of the Green Bay Packers and fans of inner beauty. Gentlemen, it is International Inner Beauty Day. And no, not. I don't know why you're showing off your chest pubes, James. But I should now introduce, I guess, my co-host, a man who people always say has a great personality. It's James Corsmo. James, how you doing?
Oh man, my personality's sparkling, and so are my chest pubes.
Guys, you know what I wish I had done at the beginning of this show?
Taking a shower.
I wish I had hit record. But it's okay. I think I can still salvage the podcast. Hey, if you're listening to this, then I was able to salvage the podcast. But if you're not listening to this, I failed. No, I can figure it out. Might not be the smoothest thing in the world, but I'll edit it.
Just gonna be 15 seconds of Oak Ridge Boys music, and then
my other co-host, I don't have a good inner beauty pun for you, but a man with a Capri Sun. Kevin, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Gentlemen, before we get into the show outline, which we do every week, I don't show the peek behind the curtain, but let's just talk about how the Green Bay Packers are 4-0, and I don't think anybody, I know nobody on this show, but I don't think anybody predicted this team to be where they are going into the bye week, especially, Kevin, if you had told that prognosticator of the Packers' injuries in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, we look at each individual game, and each game that they've played, we've said, okay, they can win this one, and they have, and that's all we can ask of them, right? I mean, I love it. It's great. Let's play 20 more.
Well, that might take 4 years based on the news we got today in the NFL, but we'll get to that maybe a little bit later. James Corsmo, are you surprised that the Green Bay Packers are currently undefeated and that they got to play all 4 of their games that were scheduled?
I'm definitely surprised about the second. Yes, I actually I will say the NFL has made it a full month longer than I thought it would. But I'm not necessarily surprised that they're 4-0. I'm surprised that they're 4-0 and have gone the last 2 games without Devontae Adams, this one without Alan Lazard, and then in the last 2.5 without Kenny Clark. That's impressive. And and a lot of people say, well, they're just playing cupcake teams. You play who's on the schedule, and these are the type, right? And these are the types of games in years past that.
Yes.
Yeah, it would have been. We'd be a 1-3.
That's exactly what I wanted to say. You people complaining this is a weak schedule, okay, but they kicked the crap out of that weak schedule. So I don't want to hear that. This team. Yes, the Falcons are an awful team, and when we played them, they had nothing to give. But they're still an NFL team, and you play who's in front of you. And the Packers dominated that awful team.
Yeah, and that's the thing that speaks to me is the relative ease with which, especially the offense. It's been incredible to watch, especially the last 2 games without Adams and this last one without Lazard. I mean, you had Darius Shepard and Reggie Begelton, who's not even on the team anymore, and and then obviously Big Bob, and then the 2 running backs or 3 running backs really because Dylan got some playing time and Irvin too. But I mean, Aaron Rodgers has just been cutting defenses up no matter what, and it's been so fun.
And so let's talk about that Falcons game. And the first thing that you just mentioned Aaron Rodgers and how he played. He was incredible in this game, and not only that, he's been incredible. Since the beginning of this season, gentlemen, the Green Bay Packers have 0 offensive turnovers. That's insane. 4 games into the season. So that speaks to what not only is Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Jones. It shows you what this team is doing. But Kevin, Aaron Rodgers at one point, I don't know if you remember the play, had 3 wide receivers line up in the formation.
Yeah.
And then all 3 wide receivers
wide
open. So this was a bit of fish in the barrel, but they played damn well.
Yeah, I mean, that play looked like vintage Dom Capers on the defensive side, right? Nobody was prepared. There's like 6 guys. Like, they all fell down.
One of the guys thought it was flag football. I mean, it was embarrassing.
But like 3 years ago, that might have been an incomplete pass. That might not have gone for a first down, or I don't remember the outcome of the play, but it was good for the Packers.
It was
probably a touchdown to Tanyan. When in doubt, it was a touchdown to Tanyan. So, yeah, I mean, that was fun to see, that offense, because with the exception of the 4th and 1, or the 4th and goal, I guess. That offense was clicking on several cylinders. I don't want to say all cylinders because I don't know how cars work.
Are you, Kevin? Well, wouldn't you think all cylinders is probably a good thing? I mean, I don't
know. Like a hybrid, I don't know.
7 out of 8 isn't bad, I've been told. It's just a little clunking.
All right, let's look at Aaron Rodgers' stat line because then it looks like we did research. Scrolling. So Aaron Rodgers, 27 for 33 for a modest 327 yards, 4 touchdowns, quarterback rating of 476.8. James, again, tell me Aaron Rodgers is not the front runner for the Hall of Fame. I mean, for the MVP. We know you're the Hall of Fame.
Right now it's a 2-man race right now between him and Russell Wilson, and when you consider the weapons that Rodgers has had compared to the weapons that Wilson has had, it's plus Wilson really not struggled, but had a little bit of a tougher time this past week. So right now, after week 4, it's Aaron Rodgers in the lead for me, and of course I'm biased. And with those stats, that's not counting. MVS had a back shoulder throw that was put right on the money, and he couldn't get because he was being held, and the referee didn't call it. And then there was just a bomb at the end of the game that he threw for no apparent reason with like a minute left. And those stats, aren't. So that's 2 incompletions that really you don't need to factor in. I mean that's incredible. It's incredible. It reminds me so much of 2011, you guys, where every single offensive drive, you feel like they're going to score.
Yeah.
I mean, and I can't remember. It might have been 2011 since the last time I felt that way.
You feel confidence in the offense. I think that's what it is. And they're not asking Aaron Rodgers to do too much. And that lets him be who he needs to be. Like, he can't carry the entire team. But what I love the most, Kevin, is that this offense is functioning. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you?
I'm listening to this. What I love the most, this offense is functioning. Yeah. Go ahead. What else you got?
What else you got?
And this offense is functioning with a cast of characters that isn't exactly all pro. Like that. And I don't want to call Matt LaFleur like a miracle worker, like a genius, but it's working with a bunch of guys that are just guys.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it a little bit last year when Devontae Adams was out, and I think that is a really good sign about how this team is constructed, is that they don't miss a beat on offense when their best offensive player is out. You could almost even say the same thing on defense. Maybe the run defense was a little bit softer, but they let up 16 points to the Falcons without Kenny Clark. That's pretty good. That's nothing to shake a stick at, so to speak. Right. James knows what I'm talking about. Yeah.
For those of you not joining us live on YouTube, you're missing James shaking a proverbial stick, although it was more mimed than
he was pantomiming. Yeah.
I'm in a box.
YouTube user, one of our biggest supporters, YouTube user says, this is why they don't draft wide receivers, because Rodgers does this without a wide receiver from the draft. To some extent, that may have been a joking comment, but now it makes more sense. Like, you got to think that Matt LaFleur was in communication with Gutekunst when it came to the draft. I mean, I know it's good against call, but he may have talked to. I wonder if there was a conversation where we can do it with these guys. They didn't see the urgency we did.
I mean, there must have been for them to draft a quarterback number 1 and like trade up to get him. That right there tells me one of two things: they had utter and complete trust in the wide receivers they already had on their roster, or they were okay with tanking for another year. And I don't think that they were okay with tanking. So I feel like all the armchair GMs that threw temper tantrums need to chill out a little bit and realize that you're not as good of a talent evaluator as the general manager that is around the team every single day and actually knows what he's doing.
To be fair, a lot of people were on that bandwagon, and I don't think they were crazy for it.
No, they weren't. I mean, it was definitely it's a trust thing. Like, you watch, and all we've been told for years is Aaron Rodgers is declining, man. He's bad. But at the same time, it's like he has these flashes of really good play, and you're like, okay, maybe he's not. And then they draft a quarterback, and after you go 13-3, so I mean, yeah, I get it, but at the same time, we clearly don't need another wide receiver. We've lost 2 of them, and we're still beating teams. We're still scoring 30 points a game.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So that's my question, Kevin. Is that the offense, or are we, have we gotten lucky?
I think, in my opinion, we don't need week 8 Antonio Brown signings. That's what we don't need. The team is strong enough where we don't need something like that.
Right.
Now, defense, then we can talk. But on offense, we don't have to. We don't.
I don't think Antonio Brown plays defense.
At this point,
he does whatever he does. He doesn't do it with a helmet, so who cares?
God, that guy was a jackass.
It was a hand painted helmet. You don't get that kind of craftsmanship in any league. Like, it's just, it's unfair.
Made
the way
America.
I'm aligned.
Yeah. I don't remember what we're talking about, but
nor do I. But we got to make fun of Antonio Brown, so nicely done.
Nice.
Right? All right. We've talked long enough. We've mentioned his name, but we haven't, worshipped or praised him enough yet. And that's Robert Tonyan. The man came out of, not out of nowhere, but holy crap. Let's go to a stat line of 6 targets. James, how many receptions did he have?
I believe it was 6.
It was 98 yards and 3 touchdowns. Mr. Tonyan, welcome to the NFL. And have they found their tight end of the future in Robert Tonyan?
Dude, I couldn't stand up for most of that game. I mean, I could have, but it would have been awkward.
Rodgers grow.
I had some Rodgers grow, and then I also had a little bit of Tonyan ease or ends. What is that? What is that crap you buy in the gas station? Tonyan.
That's kind of uncomfortable. I didn't like that, James.
That was terrible, and I hadn't rehearsed it. I'm sorry.
I thought about your groin. That's why I didn't like it. I accidentally thought about your groin.
I mean, I'll text you again if you'd like.
No. I've blocked you already.
Why think?
When I mentioned James groin, we lost 3 live viewers. Coincidence? Maybe, because the live.
When you showed the pictures, really when we lost.
That stat line for a guy that kind of comes out of nowhere for most NFL fans. He was owned in 8% of ESPN leagues or something like that. Did you see either of you see this coming? Kevin, James, either of you? Me, no. But I'm done.
Well, but we had talked. I mean, we had talked about Tanya and about how we liked him before in the past. I just, this is now 3 consecutive games with a touchdown. Is that right? So maybe he's legit. I mean, he did this against. What's that?
He has more touchdowns than the NFC East. That's a fact. Don't look it up, but it's factual.
Garbage division that is.
It really is. Well, all right. What else do we say about Bobby Tonyan? I feel like we haven't talked about him enough. He's earned a spot on this podcast.
Way to go! You've ascended to the throne, Bob Tonyan.
Way to go, Bobby.
It's incredible. He's leading the NFL or tied for the league lead in touchdowns. Raise your hand if you had Big Bob Tonyan leading the lead in touchdowns a quarter of the way through the season. That's ridiculous. Oh, Kevin did.
Yeah.
I was lying. That was a lie, guys. Fibbed.
So, James, what should we think about this defense, right? They give up 16 points. That's a hell of a performance in general, but, it was against a somewhat inept Falcons team that lost Julio Jones. At what point did they lose him in the game? I don't remember.
At halftime.
Yes. Okay. So, not exactly a fierce NFL offensive power, but they performed well. And I know they get a lot of heat for the 10-minute 95-yard drive that resulted in a field goal, but it did result in a field goal. I don't know. What's up with this defense?
Zadarius Smith had a hell of a game. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few bona fide stars on that defense. Zadarius Smith, Kenny Clark, Jair Alexander. I think Kevin King can be, depending on who he's matched up with and if he's healthy. I think Adrian Amos has potential. Maybe Darnell Savage, but the other guys, our linebacking crew or middle, especially, they're just guys. Christian Kirksey is out, and we replace him with Ty Summers, who is just, he's just a guy. And so we continue to have issues plugging holes. And then, which is where the Rogers girl comes into. But I mean, I think that Pettine is trying to do the best he can with what he has, and for now it's working. But don't be surprised if 2-3. I mean, we play the Buccaneers in a week or 2 weeks. So
God willing.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
All right. Let's talk about the NFL, some of the issues with the NFL right now. The Packers bye comes at a good time. And I would not be surprised if the Green Bay Packers end up with a 2-week bye. Hear me out. I think after this weekend, if they play this weekend, the NFL puts a 1-week hold on all games because of the issues they've had with some teams. And James, I don't want to step on your sound off. I still want you to do a little bit about it later, but the Tennessee Titans, holy Jesus.
It's okay. I changed my sound off because I knew we were going to do this before. Anyway.
I forgot to do a sound off, but I'll think of one.
Hey, Kev, way to break down that fourth wall.
That should be good, too. That should be a good one.
So if you didn't hear about this, James, why don't you tell the story, because I know you've read more than the headline.
So obviously, I think everybody knows the Tennessee Titans had several players and personnel test positive in the last week or so, a little over a week. And then they quarantined and shut down the team facility. Heavy Austin Powers air quotes. And and then they went 2 days without having a positive test, and it was like, okay, we're back. They're going to reopen their facility on Wednesday. So Wednesday, which is today, comes, and news breaks that during their quarantine, where all the players were supposed to be not around other people, they went ahead and had a giant group workout session at the team facility, which they weren't supposed to be at. And
was that facility?
You know what? Don't quote me on that. I didn't read that. Maybe it's not. Wherever it was, they weren't supposed to be together. And like Romeo and Juliet, they weren't supposed to be together. And just like that story, they might all,
Oh, good point. That's a good analogy.
This problem is not the Titans' problem.
Spoiler alert.
This problem is the NFL's problem, not the Titans.
Tell me why.
Because the NFL has this, we're testing every single day. If you're testing every single day, you're good to go. Follow the protocols, test every day, you're good to go. The problem is, let me just finish. The problem is the incubation period for this disease, for this virus, is 3 to 7 days. So this could have happened 7 days ago. This could have had the workout could have had nothing to do with it. The NFL isn't building enough time in for testing to really identify what the issue is.
Well, but you said but I agree. The NFL has their protocols are clearly not good enough. That's, by the way, if you're listening to just the audio podcast, James just poured himself a beverage. No one just had diarrhea all over a vinyl floor.
Right. No one did.
Yeah.
The night is young. No one's arguing that the NFL's testing or NFL's protocol is is good enough. It's just not.
But that's the thing,
but,
though, Chris. They will argue that it's good enough. The problem is that they're fighting a virus. Like, you can't win. That's the problem. Is that they put these protocols into place, assuming that that means they're going to win, right? But like, they don't have anything outwards that says, okay, well, if we need to take a step back, this is what we're going to do, right? Like, ostensibly, they haven't figured that part out yet because we don't know that yet. And I feel like by now,
sure.
We should know that if that's a thing.
These are two separate issues. I'm with you. I don't disagree with anything you say.
Yeah.
But when we go back to the Titans, it's effing asinine what they've done. I mean, it's
but
because
Chris,
let me finish. Let me finish too. Because yes, you're correct that we're not seeing the results of the test from them getting together. But because they've done this, it's just so bad optically. It's just such a bad thing. The NFL should have better protocols in place. But the players, they know better. They know better. They're adults.
There has to be personal responsibility. There really to me. I mean,
I'm not saying that there's no personal responsibility, but the way that they've set up the testing and the way that everybody believes that because they're getting tested, because they're following protocols, they're safe, that created a vacuum that they went into, and now they've all got COVID because that isn't like they're not. It's just not enough education and enough space for everybody to do this. It's just not.
Okay, let's move on. You got to speak up a little bit. Your levels are a little low.
That's because I pooped myself. Sorry.
Poop does muffle sound waves. That's a fact. Science.
We are, well, it depends on how you pack it. Wait, no. I didn't. I'm going to move on.
Yeah,
you know what?
do that.
The vice presidential debate is tonight, so let's have our favorite game show. That's God. Gather the family, tell the neighbors, call your friends. It's time for everyone's favorite game show.
With all due respect, that's a bunch of malarkey. The people don't have the teleprompter working, but that's okay.
That's debatable. That's right, it's your favorite game show. That's debatable. Where I present a made-up scenario that will never matter. And James and Kevin are forced to argue the side that I assign them. So James, this first point, or this first resolution, argument, whatever, you want to speak in favor of. Kevin, you will be opposed. You will have 30 seconds each, which I'm not going to time. It'll be like a rough 30 seconds. James, I want you to tell us why this offense is actually overperforming and slightly overrated. Go.
Well, I mean, there's no way they can keep up this productivity all year long. I mean, at some point, Aaron Rodgers is gonna come back down to earth. You can't maintain this level of accuracy and handsomeness and awesomeness for 16 consecutive games. Devontae Adams is gonna come back, and he's gonna bring all the viruses: the coronavirus, the swine flu,
That's probably true.
Jurassic Park virus. He's gonna bring it all back. Everybody's gonna catch it. Next thing you know, they're all pooping themselves in the huddle. It's gonna be a chaos, and it's week 7. They're gonna lose.
Luckily, James asked his face out of the huddle. So, point lost. Kevin, a response?
What was the question again?
You are supposed to tell us why the offense is not overperforming and can keep this up.
All right. So I think the main crux of my argument here
Eye roll.
would be Aaron bleeping Rodgers.
Disgusted smirk.
Would you just shut up, man?
You know what? We did have a second topic. There's so much vitriol and hatred that I think we're going to move on. And
This might be our best segment ever.
it might be. All right, but before we go to break, remember, if you'd like to help support our show, you can go to patreon.com/TTSO. You can give us a small or large per episode donation. And that donation will help run the show. And, look, Kevin had to buy that whole elaborate backdrop for utility of that. You don't just get that. I mean, that was custom. Cost a lot of patron dollars, and we appreciate that.
I designed that logo. It's a custom.
Not many people know that. So thanks for supporting us. Patrons are awesome. And we have some OG patrons that we really need to talk about, Kevin. And they're pretty awesome people.
They are. We have several OG patrons that I would like to talk about. First, Scott Neer. Scott was named Time's Inner Sexiest Man of the Year in 1999. Just the 1 year, which is kind of odd.
Yeah.
Good for him.
I don't know. Jason Hicks. While Jason Hicks is beautiful on the inside, he also has a very intense outer beauty regimen, including face masks and cucumber melon lotion. I don't know if you guys have smelled that before. It's delightful.
It is.
Delightful.
It
Put it
really
on
is.
ice cream.
Pleasant.
In Milo Mead's song "Spare Time," he enjoys judging inner beauty pageants. It's tough.
The talent
Jeff
show
Augustine.
is really interesting. Swimsuits, though.
Lots of ping pong balls. Jeff Augustine.
Oh God.
Jeff is such a fan of inner beauty that you should check out his website, abetterhomewi.com, for all the beautiful insides he's done to houses, because he does interior, just like rebuilding stuff and building and stuff. So
okay.
Chris Cord, and I gave him a plug too.
Strong. That was strong. It's very
I
strong.
was trying to give him a plug. Was really that website again, abetterhomewisconsinwi.com.
Is that really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You're looking at me
really?
like I got 3 heads. Can't say 2 because that's accurate if you know what I'm saying. Chris Corsmo, like a delicious berry-flavored Capri Sun.
They're not paying us.
Sometimes the true beauty is on the inside, because it's all fun with Capri Sun, made from concentrate and added ingredients. And last but not least, James Hamblin. James exhibits all the qualities of inner beauty. James is so generous and so modest and so humble that he'll spend hours of his time telling you all about it. Those are our OG patrons. Thank you very much for your patronage.
I want to say also thank you to Patrick Forney. I don't think we ever settled that debate. So like he stopped showing up on our patron list, but I think there's an issue with Patreon because he reached out to me. And I was like, no, I wasn't forgetting you. You didn't show up on the list. So we're trying to figure that out. But anyway, thanks, Patrick. And
Horny for 40.
Capri Sun.
Capri Sun does not sponsor us.
Yet.
Nobody sponsors us.
Yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's been like 4 years.
Patrons sponsor us.
That's a good point. They love us. Thank God. Amazon kind of sponsors us. All right, we'll be back.
Somebody form a corporation and sponsor us.
I'm going to go try to squeeze out.
Give us a lot of money. Did you know that you can help support our show financially without any additional cost to you? Well, if you use Amazon, and let's face it, who doesn't? You can go through our Amazon affiliate link, and we'll get a small portion of the proceeds. You pay nothing extra, and you still get your awesome stuff delivered in like 2 days. So go to www.titletownsoundoff.com/Amazon. And just order like you normally would, and you help the show. That's www.titletownsoundoff.com/Amazon. Happy shopping.
If you would like to support the show and help others find it, give us a review and a rating. Go to Apple Podcasts and write something nice and give us 5 stars. Thanks.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Titletown Sound Podcast. This is episode 245. We don't have a clever name for it yet, but we'll figure something out or just make one up. Gentlemen, before we go on, we have some other patrons. These are our Hall of Famers that we want to mention. These people also help keep this show running, and we appreciate them. James?
Yes, so we have Paul Goldsack, Kyle Turpinning, DJ Lightfoot, Will Zine Savage, and Michael James Crowder. Now, these gentlemen, you might not know this, but it just came out this week. They actually have done a sequel to a late 90s American film. I can't mention the star of it because he got in a little bit of trouble. But the sequel is called American Inner Beauty. And it's all about the struggle to come to terms with.
I think Kevin Spacey's in that one too.
I was trying to avoid saying his name, but it's out there now. Kevin Spacey.
I mean, that's how the segment ends? With a Kevin Spacey exclamation? Well, I raise you a Bill Cosby.
The fleeble and the flobble and the door.
Hey guys, we have Darren Sharper joining us on the show later today, right?
No.
Bill Cosby lives within 15 miles of me.
You live within 15 miles of a prison. That's fun.
I always feel like being close to a prison is where you want to be because the criminals are going to go as far away as possible if they escape.
You know what's not fun is accidentally frozen beer. Anyway,
it's a cold freezing.
Gentlemen, we almost forgot something, and that's one of our favorite segments. But
Beauty, eh?
James.
Who was that?
No, it was not.
I wasn't looking at the screen. I was trying to find my sound effect. And that is our
69, dudes!
Nice.
69!
Nice.
So it's the David Bakhtiari 69 of the week. In no way supported or sponsored by David Bakhtiari, but it's where we give you stats.
Presented by Capri Sun.
It's not, but here's the problem I got.
And Miller Lite.
So my frozen beer is slowly thawing, and it just keeps erupting.
Yep.
So I frequently have to.
Happens to the best of us.
The 69 of the week. I couldn't let this one go. I couldn't not include Bob Tonyan. He was very important to the win. So if we add the percentage of offensive plays that Bob Tonyan played to the percentage of plays that Tim Boyle played, guess what we got?
I hope you stretched.
I hope it's 69.
69, dudes!
Nice.
69!
Look,
This is what happens. This is what happens when I forget to put the things on the rundown.
I
was shallow for the 69.
I honestly wish that would have equaled like 74 or something, and we just would have let it slide for the week.
I think it. All right, who's going to fact check me? Seriously.
We should hire a fact checker.
No, we shouldn't.
No, just to fire them though for fun.
All right, gentlemen. What are we doing? We got true false. We got the games. Are you prepared to give us some sort of recap?
I am.
Oh, okay. In that case, let me play this.
True or false, true or false, true or false, true or false. It's time to play true or false.
Kevin,
All right.
what do you got?
True or false? Week 4. We'll just do a recap. I don't have anything obviously because we have a bye week. Although I do have one question that I do want to ask you guys, and we can kind of figure that out. However, okay. So week 4 recap. I actually had the most correct answers with 3. Myself, Milo, and Jason. We had 3 correct answers. James, you had 1 correct answer, and Chris, you had 2. So it's okay. Everybody, actually, though. So we're only counting 2 weeks, right? Because we had a preseason, a couple weeks of preseason. Right. So starting with week 3 and 4, we're like 60% right now is in the lead. Milo's in the lead with 60%. Kyle's got 60%, and then everybody else is at 50 and 40%. So it's very clustered right now, as it would be after just a couple weeks of competition. I thought it was interesting that last week the Falcons did not turn the ball over, right? I don't think they did.
No, they did
No,
not.
they didn't.
Oh.
They did. They didn't. So everybody got that one wrong. Everybody thought there was going to be a turnover, and there was not.
Wow, think about what the Packers did to the Falcons without a turnover. That's like, think about that.
Yeah.
Wow.
They what else? The Packers scored in every quarter again. So they have now scored in all 16 quarters of football they've played in this season.
That's impressive, man. That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is like,
yeah.
think about that. That's astonishing. That doesn't happen often.
And the way that they play, it's like every time they get the ball, they're in a position, it seems like, you know what I mean?
Well, and I know it's not always going to be rosy and perfect, right? You're going to have bad games, but you haven't had wasted drives.
Right.
Especially later in the McCarthy era, it felt like 50% of your drives were just wasted drives. And that, as a fan, is so frustrating. And as a player, it is too. We didn't talk about this, but we should mention it because Aaron Rodgers gave an interview, I think it was on the Pat McAfee show, where basically he said, What?
Nothing. And I don't think you're going where I thought you were going initially. So it's good. Go ahead.
All I was going to say was, he pointed out that, people would say that he was having down years, and those down years were career years for other players. But he's certainly playing better than he has been. So he's either buying in or he's more excited. This is not all, you can't just throw it all away. Aaron Rodgers wasn't as good as he was this year, last year, and the year before. It's just he wasn't.
Something changed. Like a light switch flipped. It's obvious just by watching him as he's having fun. Like he's being a leader at the same time. I mean, everything is right on point, and it's incredible.
So imagine a non-system quarterback now being placed into a system that he's had a big hand in helping develop. Like, I think that's I think that's not that he's not, like, I feel like the last few years were just a wash. He was just he was gunslinging. And now the last couple of years, he's now in a position where he feels more comfortable. It looks like he's getting more and more opportunities to kind of, make it his own. And I mean, I think that's key for the offense is, people were concerned about, LaFleur and Rodgers are basically the same age. They've put together an amazing offense over the last season and a quarter. A great team, regardless how the offense is done, the team has been great. And that's encouraging. It's
such a symbiotic relationship. It's incredible how, like, everybody was always last year going to this year. Well, Rodgers isn't buying into LaFleur. He doesn't, it's run first and blah, blah, blah. But LaFleur has designed the perfect offense for Aaron Rodgers. It is absolutely perfect.
The perfect offense for an aging Aaron Rodgers too. Like
right.
For Aaron Rodgers at this point in his career, it's perfect. And it takes some of the pressure off of him, but still allows him those heroics. It still allows you to use him in a position where you've got to, if you need Aaron Rodgers, you still got Aaron Rodgers, but you don't need Aaron Rodgers on every drive. And I know that doesn't make sense, but I think you guys know what I mean. Like, I don't need him to be heroic every drive. And because of that, it allows him to have fun. And this, again, it goes back to what we said probably 4 years ago. And that was that Mike McCarthy's time had come in Green Bay. He wasn't a bad dude. He was just stale, and he wasn't able to lead the team anymore.
Chris, that's going to rub people the wrong way, but you're absolutely right.
That was a massage joke. It was a massage joke. And all you have to do, and honestly,
Kevin, it's a nice happy ending.
Capri Sun.
I mean. And if you want proof of that, like legitimately proof of what you just said, just look at how Dallas is right now.
Yes.
Dallas, they're running the same offense in Dallas that they did up here in Green Bay, and they're 1-3. Dak Prescott's throwing for 500 yards a game, just like Aaron Rodgers was, and they're losing. And I mean, they got boat raced for almost the entire game by the Browns. I mean, it's like watching a rerun, but it's a different team. So I love McCarthy. I've said my fair share of nonsense about him. I am happy that he was ours, but he needs to change or go.
Yeah, he's old. Look, he's old, and I don't mean that he's old in age. He's just old in the way he thinks about football, I think. And if you're not adapting in this league, you're falling behind. And Mike McCarthy has fallen behind, just like Dom Capers had fallen behind.
And when he started coaching, he was basically coaching a different generation of players.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
You know, look at the coaches that are successful now. They're like 6 years older than the quarterback, maybe. You know, I mean, a lot
really
of them.
Good point. You know, I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, it's a different generation. And you know, again, it's the perfect time to get a coach like LaFleur with Aaron Rodgers because this team is so young to Aaron Rodgers now, right? He's the old man on the team, and that may be helping the relationship between the quarterback and the head coach.
It feels like kind of the polar opposite of what happened with McCarthy and Favre. Like McCarthy came in and Favre didn't buy into anything McCarthy wanted to do because he was at the time McCarthy's offense was really innovative and new, and Favre just wanted to throw the ball. You know, and so McCarthy said, "You know what? Okay, thanks for your service. See ya." And you know, but with LaFleur, him and Rodgers really mesh and they work well together. And there's no professional like jealousy or anything like it's a very healthy that we know of. I mean, it's producing these results, which you can't argue with.
Well, and you know, who knows how they've played this, how the organization has played this. Maybe LaFleur went into a room with Rodgers after the draft and said, "You know what? I didn't want him to effing take a quarterback. I can't believe he did that to you." You know, who knows how he played this? And I'm just completely making that up. But you know what I mean? Like, we don't know how it's played inside the room, and we don't know if this is Rodgers playing pissed off, if this is Rodgers buying in, if it's a little bit of both. You know, who knows? But it's fun to watch the Packers again. And that sounds weird for a team that went 13-3 last year. I mean, they were fun last year, but like for a team that was perpetually in the playoffs until they weren't always a fun team to watch. And I think we said that at the time. We said it as it was happening, that they had become a stale, boring team to watch. They're not anymore.
I mean, they were 13-3 last year, but I don't remember a game last year where I was like, I'm having a great time for like the entire 60 minutes. There was always a point where I was like, what the hell are you doing? And this year, I think in all 4 games, at some point, you're like almost bored. Like, all right, we're winning by 30 now.
And I could not tell you what happened in the fourth quarter of the game because I was half asleep. I was trying to stay awake, but it was a losing battle. And by the way, those games that started too late. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And 10 o'clock. I mean, 9 o'clock for a game on the East Coast. It's rough.
I mean, I don't mind it because I stay up late anyway. But like I totally get that. Like,
yeah,
it should be.
I get up at about 6 for my commute, which.
Well, I mean, luckily they had to postpone that football game one day, so that was that worked.
Yeah.
I mean, the virus only lasts one day. It's like a fly, like a house fly.
Yeah, don't let it consume you. Almost just flipped off the camera. Maybe we should move on to talk about our other game, Kevin. Do you think we should do that?
Yeah, yes.
Did Kevin have a question? I thought he said he had a question.
Yeah, what's the question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I did. I just wanted a true or false that the Packers will play their next scheduled game.
Oh, that's a good one. You should send that to everybody. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, you mean on time?
Yeah. I mean, like as scheduled now, they'll play it then. This has been the longest it's ever taken you guys to answer a true.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm struggling with this one hard.
I think I want to say true, but I'm going to say true, but I am not confident in that in any way.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think the NFL law is too stupid to do anything otherwise, so I'm going to say true.
Yeah, I'm going to say true because I'm being optimistic. I think.
That's
hopefully the news of the Titans got out before any Packers could do anything stupid.
Well, it's not even just the Titans though. Stephon Gilmore from the Patriots got it, and he was all up in Mahomes' grill on Monday night. I mean,
well, you shouldn't be having barbecues in the middle of a pandemic.
Well, people were also, complaining when the NFL said they wanted to institute a no handshake jersey exchange policy. People called them crazy. They should have stood too. I mean, that should never have happened. That was an unnecessary exposure.
Well, that's the thing too about like you have, that's one of the reasons why, like a couple weeks ago, I said the masks were silly, right? Because you have the masks, but you still have guys hugging and kissing. Zoom in the locker room. I've never been in an NFL locker room, but I would imagine. And then, like, you know, and the end of the game, you've got, that is like exactly what you want to avoid. But it's just, yeah, like, why can't they all just like wave like from across the field?
And you know what? They can make an opportunity. They should get they should each side gets a T-shirt cannon and have to exchange jerseys in a fun and festive atmosphere. I mean, I think that's what they need to do.
And, I mean, there's no fans, so you don't have to worry about injuring anybody. It's a good point.
There's no liability. You just fire some T-shirts, some jerseys to each other. I think it'll be fair. You can have preloaded. You know, they could be a 1-game delay, so they have a washed but game used jersey from the last game already preloaded and sanitized into their COVID safe.
The COVID cannon.
The COVID cannon.
We might want to rename that.
The Coanon.
Corona gun, something like that. You know, we'll
That's my favorite Kiss song.
We'll workshop it.
I'm trying to think of what's wrong with COVID cannon. Is that like a sex thing?
Urban Dictionary, COVID cannon.
Hey, baby, check out my COVID cannon. Oh yeah.
Well, we have our episode title.
COVID cannon. Oh Christ! Did we ever end the true or false segment? I don't think we did.
No.
I don't know.
True or false is now over.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's episode 245, COVID Cannon. And let's talk about our final game, our favorite game.
Don't mind me.
All right. Hands on the hood and spread them.
It's annoying because that song just gets good when it starts to fade out. So I like
it leaves you wanting more. We focus grouped it.
Okay. So
and then we workshop.
It's in beta testing right now.
It is.
Okay. So we're doing the spread 'em recap. James, luckily you are 0% for the season.
Let's keep that going, boys.
Yep, and that's because you're picking the
gentlemen,
opponents.
can we pause for a second? We have a comment from Sloan Peterson in the chat. I just like to say to Sloan, so that's how it is in their family. Anyway,
well, just roll their old bones on over here, and we'll dig up your daughter.
How many people get that reference?
I don't care.
I know
I'll
you
do
don't.
a podcast on Ferris Bueller's Day Off because it's the greatest movie ever. And I first watched it on an old VHS tape that also had The Journey of Natty Gann on it, but I never watched The Journey of Natty Gann because why would you? Thank you.
This has been Chris Christopher for Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Might be a perfectly lovely movie. I don't know.
I think you just sounded off.
One of my favorite.
All right, so I'm at 100%, guys. Although that's not really that impressive because so is Milo, Jason, James Hamblin, and Chris Korsmo, and Jeff Augustine.
I didn't hear a name. I didn't hear a name in there. There was one name I didn't hear.
Scott Neer.
Yeah.
You did not hear Scott Neer's name because for the first time since I've been doing Spread 'em, Scott Neer took the Falcons. He did not take the Packers.
We actually required. This is the first time. Now, he is our longest, oldest. No, I don't mean in age. I mean our like he's like
the OOG. He's our OOG.
He is the original OG, right? The OOG, exactly. So we have great reverence for this man. He's a bit of a legend in the halls. And when we saw that come through, we actually required 2-factor authentication because we did not believe that was his actual pick.
It's true. I had to send a screenshot, and you guys are like blown away by it. So
we did not believe it. So Scott, now here's the thing. Without Devontae Adams, without Alan Lazard, without Kenny Clark, they went in, or they went home, but they beat Atlanta, and you picked against them. I think for the future, you might have to maintain that. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's the bye week. Does that cancel it? I don't know.
It's worked for me.
It's an issue.
The bye week, is that the great eraser? Interesting.
That's what I don't know. Oh, by the way, if you are a patron, if you're a regular listener, we're going to take next week off. But if you are a patron, we will not take that week off for you. You will be getting a special bonus episode. So if you're listening, You got some extra cash laying around.
You're gonna want to. You're gonna want this one, guys. You're gonna want this one.
And you'll
Is
get
this the
that.
one where you finally replace me? Is that
Kevin's gone on to another planet.
So, yeah. Anyway, let's. I mean, I guess it's a little early, but I think it's time to wrap up. I don't want to just, we've blathered enough.
I think our sound offs will take us to an hour.
Yeah, they might. All right, so let's go to the sound off.
It's time to sound off.
Does anyone want to volunteer to go first?
Oh, sure.
All right.
Oh, sure. So Chris mentioned a little bit earlier when Aaron Rodgers was on Pat McAfee's podcast, which he's doing every Tuesday now. And let me preface this by saying I've never been a real big fan of Pat McAfee. I understand the appeal to the alpha male kind of.
Yeah.
I get it, but I really think he's killing it with Aaron Rodgers. It's been entertaining, extremely entertaining, and a lot of that is Aaron Rodgers opening up. So one of the other quotes that Aaron Rodgers had this week was about the media. He was asked about the media. And the full quote is here. Aaron Rodgers said, quote, "All the effing media does," and by the way, Aaron Rodgers swearing like in public all the time now, it's little stuff like that makes my heart swoon. Anyway, all the effing media does is write stories to get clicks. It doesn't matter. I could give a long answer about something and they can take a blip of it and write a story about it that has nothing to do with what I was saying. Nobody is going to take the time, unless you're watching live, to listen to this entire interview. They're going to take pieces of it. If I'm not doing this in person, you can't see facial expressions. Or if you're not listening to it and you're just reading a transcript, you can't hear voice inflection and tone and inference. So that's just the way it is. Now, you're never going to believe this, but media people are unhappy. They're less than enthused at that quote. They don't like it. Now, I went on a little bit of a Twitter rampage earlier. I had kind of a long thread on this, but I'll kind of sum it up here. For years, the national and local media have been making money off of Aaron Rodgers, directly off of Aaron Rodgers, covering him, speculating about him, opining about him. And in the course of all that, they've insinuated that anytime he plays bad, it's because of his girlfriend. They've questioned his sexuality. They have speculated and questioned his relationships with his family. They have completely ignored all the charitable work and all the other things he's done in the state of Wisconsin. He opened a restaurant with Ryan Braun back in like 2008. Obviously, that didn't go well when Braun did the thing with the steroids. But but he also is a part owner of the Bucks. He supported the Brewers. He's all in on this state and has been his whole entire career. He works for the MAC Fund, which is a children's charity, children's cancer charity in Milwaukee. He does visits with kids, and this stuff never gets a lot of coverage, and you don't hear him bragging about it. But all the reporters have done for the last, I don't know how many years, is use Aaron Rodgers' likeness for clickbait and to make money and to get their dumb opinions out. And now that he finally has decided enough is enough and he's flipped the switch and he's calling them on it, and it's not, now they have a problem. So I can't say the word that I want to say on this podcast, but to all of those media types who are now upset that they're that's not how they're going to be anymore, you find a hobby, because it's ridiculous. And that's all. I'm off the soapbox now.
Kevin.
Yeah. Jeez. Goodness.
You got to follow that.
All right.
I was going to comment, but I agree with it. There's nothing to argue with. That's
yeah.
Sorry.
Very powerful and moving. No, I guess for my sound off, for me, it's really important that you guys understand that when I'm thirsty, I reach for a delicious 100% juice Capri Sun berry flavor, made from the best stuff on earth, Capri Sun. It's fantastic.
You know what I like? I like that you're not one of those people who puts the straw in the bottom. You actually use the straw hole.
The bottom?
People are afraid of the straw hole. They don't know how to do it, so they turn upside down and.
That's disturbing.
I know.
Can you imagine them in bed?
Ooh, like that. All right. Let me do my sound off. I might do something similar again before November 3rd, but it is October 7th as we record this. And we're likely taking next week off. And tonight was the vice presidential debate. And there are 210,000 dead people in this country because of the coronavirus, because the current administration mismanaged what's happened. And there are a lot of people hurting. And I'm going to urge you to go out and there vote. And you know who I'm going to urge you to vote for. And if you don't vote in this election, I can't imagine that level of privilege, that you don't have to support your friends and family, that we had Supreme Court justices come out this week and said they want to overturn Obergefell. That's the case that said that marriage was a constitutional right for people, gay, straight, bisexual, doesn't matter. They want to overturn that. And your vote in November, on November 3rd, matters, or before that by absentee ballot. But make your voice heard. And I know this is going to piss some people off. But if you guys have listened to this show, you know this is where we stood. And you could have turned it off when I started to talk about it. We've lost patrons over it, but I don't care because this is important to me. And I think it's important to I don't want to speak for anybody else, but it's important to me. So make sure you vote. And you still have the opportunity to register to vote in most states if you haven't done that yet. Please do that. If just one person registers to vote and votes because we said this, because I said this, I'll be happy. So that's it. Get out, vote, please. We need you to.
Yes. Slow clap.
Now somebody tell a dick joke so we get a nice palate cleanser there. Oh, no, I know what'll do it.
69, dudes!
That's the real palate cleanser.
That's it.
I was trying to make a dick palate cleanser joke, and I couldn't come up with it.
Did you guys not hear my 69 palate cleanser joke? Because ain't that the truth?
That's 2 levels. That's good. Oh my god.
All right, let's get out of here, guys. For those of you who joined us live, we so appreciate it. It's a lot of fun to have you here. For those of you listening on the audio podcast, thanks again. Become a patron if you think about it. Or you know what? For this month, don't donate some money to a campaign that needs it. Or doesn't need it because they're doing so well and out fundraising the incumbent. Just saying.
Also,
down ballot. Donate to down ballot.
Yes, that's a good one. That's a good one.
The Senate races, everybody. The Senate
Lindsey
races.
Graham is begging for cash, so how about you give it to his opponent?
Yeah. James, what do you get? What should people tweet at us?
They should tweet. Let's go with pouch in honor of the Capri Sun.
That's
right. The Capri
choice.
Sun.
The choice that you just made, and I appreciate that choice. Everybody, thanks for joining us tonight. We will be back in 2 weeks, most likely. But if you're a patron, you'll hear from us next week.
I shouldn't do that with the English people.
I'm going to say an F word, I think, next week.
Become a patron. Get next week's episode. You're going to love it. It's a good one.
What do you know that I don't?
I'm going to